Hey you guys, welcome to another edition of Heel's Kitchen, live from my kitchen, courtesy of Mountain High Appliance in Louisville and Littleton. They are my choice, the premier showroom in the state of Colorado. All these appliances you see today, I got from Mountain High Appliance. All right, summertime, let's get a little sweet today on Heel's Kitchen. We have this tradition in our family that every Sunday night I make a different ice cream flavor, and we all take turns like picking what flavor it's gonna be. And one of my sons always says Blackberry Cobbler with vanilla ice cream on top. So I'm gonna show you a family favorite of ours, and that is a Blackberry Cobbler, which is a really, really fun thing to make in the summertime, and it's pretty. Lots of blackberry there. This is 3 cups of blackberries going in a pan, and I'm gonna turn it on like medium to low heat, adding a cup of sugar, which essentially like juices the blackberries up and gets them all nice and sweet. 1/4 cup of cinnamon, or 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Give it a nice big stir, get everything going. So this is gonna be the inside of the cobbler, and it's gonna really reduce and get really juicy, and the sugar is gonna bring out all that natural juice in these blackberries. But with that, we're gonna need to thicken it up a little bit before we put it into the pan to make the cobbler. So I have measured a cup of cold water, and this is 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. While this is cooking, you're gonna mix this together and whisk it and make sure it's really well incorporated. All right, so while this is getting all ready, we're gonna get the biscuit topping going, but check it out, look how juicy. Look how juicy. All right, here's the biscuit topping, you guys. This is so good. This is the yummy part. It gets all hot and bubbly and warm. So when you're making any kind of a biscuit topping or any kind of a pastry, it's really important you use cold ingredients. I've started with 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna go with a tablespoon of sugar. Add that in there. We're gonna go with 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and this is gonna make it like puff up really nice. So as I mentioned, with adding really cold ingredients, anytime you're doing a biscuit topping or a pastry, the reason that's so important is because when anything cold hits the steam of the oven and the heat of the oven, it causes steam inside of like the butter and the milk, and that causes it to rise. So you get like an extra puffiness, which is really, really good. You don't need a pastry cutter. I have one. I haven't always used one. A lot of times I just use a fork with this, but what you wanna do is kind of just mash this butter until it's the size of peas, you know, and it's these little tiny balls inside of all of this flour. Add a little dash of salt with this as well. We're gonna keep working this in, and at the very last minute, right before we put it in the oven, we're just gonna add 1/2 cup of milk to it to kind of moisten it up and make it truly the biscuit topping for it. This is starting to bubble over here, which is perfect. I'm gonna give it another stir. The blackberries are getting really, really nice and soft. They're releasing all of the juices. This is gonna make for such a good filling inside this cobbler. Okay, now that that has been boiling, it's ready to go almost, we do need to thicken it up. So remember this cup of water that I was talking about in the beginning, and the 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Everything's kind of stuck to the bottom again. So just give it a nice big whisk before we do this. And we're gonna add it to the mixture. We're gonna turn up the heat just a little bit. Just gonna get everything really nice and thick before we put it in the pan. All right, the berries look perfect. The cornstarch thickened them up quite a bit, so we're gonna take them off, pour them into an 8x8 glass pan. Can you smell it? Like, it's so good. Get them all in there, getting happy. All right, so this is where we work kind of fast. Cold milk goes in the biscuit topping. We're gonna give it a stir just until moistened. Don't overmix this at all. Still see the butter in there. This truly is just until everything is kind of incorporated and kind of wet where you can work with it with your hands. This is a biscuit topping. You don't have to worry about like rolling things out and making it smooth and whatever it may be. 2 favorite tools in the kitchen, your hands. Make them all about the same size, and you're just gonna dot these little tiny biscuits on top of this cobbler, and that actually becomes your crust. You can really still see these little balls of butter in there, which is so good. Kind of keep it going. You can get a little gritty toward the bottom, just kind of mashing in there together. It really like isn't super pretty to put together. But that's kind of the part of the charm of this, especially when you put it in a pretty little bowl with some ice cream on top of it and it gets all melty. So good. All right, you guys, I'm gonna wash up. I'm gonna pop these in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. It's been about 30 minutes, you guys. The whole house smells amazing and the Blackberry Cobbler is ready to go. Oh my gosh. Look at it bubble. So we're gonna let this cool for just a little bit and get that ice cream ready to go. Out of the oven, the Blackberry Cobbler has had a chance to cool just a little, but of course you want it warm so it gets a little melty with that ice cream. Here's how I serve it up. Break apart those fun little biscuits. Get all that juicy goodness at the bottom. And top it off with some vanilla ice cream. Perfect dessert for summer. Everyone's gonna love it. You guys, you can find this recipe and so many more at KYGO.com. Thanks for joining us on Heal's Kitchen, live from my kitchen from Mountain High Appliance, our presenting sponsor. A big thank you to them, not only for being the presenting sponsor here on Heal's Kitchen, but for providing the great appliances that you see in my own kitchen. Go see Mountain High Appliance in Louisville and Littleton, and we will see you next time on Heal's Kitchen. I'm getting into this. It's too good.